Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the AI Learning Lab. I'm just getting myself together. I had a day out on the town. I got myself a new iPhone, so it'll be interesting to see. Hey, I know the guy. Hey, Retropunk. What's happening? Going to be interesting to see if the cameras are any better, because I have a new phony phone. And what else? Hey, Silver Fox, what's happening? Brand new spanking new charging wire for my new spanking new phone. Look, camera better, maybe? No, not really. But that one looks like it's more in focus. Maybe we're not going to have that bullshit focus problem anymore. That looks better. That looks more gooder. I got the 14 Pro. 3 big old cameras on the back. They're giant. I also got... Hey, young brother. Yeah, speaking of that, I go into the AT&T store, and the woman there's like, she goes, "You with AARP? Are you an AARP member?" So I got an AARP discount, and I got a new phone. I traded in my old phone. Got a new phone and an Apple Watch, and I'm paying $10 less a month. So it pays to be old. Ah! I have the 13, and I hate the camera. It applies filters automatically. Pretty sure you can turn that off, Silver Fox, but because I know one of the first things I did was I selected a photo style, which I'm like, I'm going to regret this because it's going to apply that to all the crap that I take, and I like doing my own stuff. But whatever. Welcome, everybody. My name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. Let me pop these over here. I did some more work on ye old YouTube channel, and I used Claude to do some description writing. Oh, see, we still got focus issues. Yeah, that's a little better. Let me dim that. There we go. All right, so if you want to see recordings of these lives, I'm putting them on the YouTube channel, which is AI Learning Lab -TT, like dash TikTok on YouTube, because someone else has AI Learning Lab. But if you go there, I've got recordings, and it's kind of cool. I did, so here's the channel, and then I did Claude-generated descriptions and chapter headings. So this is the one for my birthday. It was pretty cool. So, writes up the description, writes up the chapter headings. They automatically get hyperlinked to that section of the video. And then I guess it's going to recommend, here are the chapters. You can scroll through the chapters. So I think this is going to make these things actually decently usable. So if you're new here and enjoy tonight, you're going to be able to go back. I have all of May done, and I've got June and July and now August to do. Hopefully I can get caught up in the next week or so. And then I'll probably dump some other stuff over there. I'll dump over the other TikToks. But anyway, it's AI Learning Lab -TT, and if you just can't get enough of me live, now you can get me on Memorex. All right, but that's not what this is about. What's this about? The AI Learning Lab, whole idea here is to talk about generative AI, what it means, where to get started, answer any questions you have. If you have questions, pop them in the comments below. I do try to answer all the questions. It's a bit of a running joke that I get so far behind that people don't even think this is live. But it is. See, if I couldn't pinch myself if I wasn't live, could I? No, I don't think so. If you're brand new to generative AI and ChatGPT and all the likes, if you haven't played with ChatGPT, that's the first URL here. Now, you may say, Kyle, why do you have all of these sites up here? If I'm just trying to get started, what do I do? Just start with that first one. That's the official ChatGPT site. In the past 2 weeks, a bunch of others kind of showed up on the scene that are all they all do something interesting. That's the official. It's got this thing called Code Interpreter, which is amazing. It's got this thing called Custom Instructions, which are really interesting. It's got plugins. It's the original. It's the best. Bing is also GPT-4, like ChatGPT-4. It's connected to the internet. That's Microsoft's offering. It can also generate images and read images. Claude you can put in really long prompts. So when I grab my transcripts from these YouTube videos that I'm doing, some of them are 2.5 hours long because I can't shut up when I do these lives, you can just paste the whole transcript in there, and I'm writing all the descriptions on YouTube using Claude. Bard is no longer as embarrassing as it was for Google, so that's worth taking a look at. Labs.perplexity, that's actually Meta's Llama 2 models, the 7, 13, and 70 billion parameter models you can just play with without installing anything. And then Pi.ai is super conversational, and Po.com is, you can play with lots of different models, and you can make bots, and it's kind of interesting as well. But if you're just getting started, just go to that one there, chat.openai.com. And if you don't really know what to do in terms of prompting, go to prompts.chat. So this is a document that will teach you how to prompt. All right. And then openart.ai will teach you how to prompt image generation tools. Those are the ones down there on the bottom that I recommend for image generation. And then Futurepedia is just a big pile of tools if you want to geek out. Just know that most of the tools on Futurepedia suck. And that's just because of where we are in the industry right now. We're very early. And yeah, that's the deal. That is the deal. All right, let's get this started. So if you have any questions about AI, pop them in the comments below. I will jump in here, grab a question or two, and we will get started. All right. AARP is awesome. Yeah, you don't even have to be that old to be in it. I don't even know if there's any age restrictions. But yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. It was funny. She was like, "Are you a member of AARP?" I'm like, "Should I be offended?" I'm like, "No, I'm just an old fart." And then I looked at my wallet, and sure enough, 2019. Had my membership card, got my 20% off. Woo! All right. Getting started. Thoughts on AI automation agencies. Let me flip this back over, flip over to this. Wait, not that, this. Let me make these big. Here we come to save the day. All right. AI automation agencies. I think that they are interesting because as people start using these tools, there are certain things you want to do over and over and over again. Like, for example, these descriptions of the YouTube things that I'm creating. Right now, I'm kind of copying and pasting the prompt, and then I put it in a new chat, and then I put in the transcript, and then sometimes it screws it up, and I gotta massage it and So if you found something that works, and then you want to do that over and over again, getting it in some sort of automated fashion is going to be good, right? Over time, these tools will get more sophisticated, and we probably won't need to do it. But I think short term, it's really good. Not everyone's going to want to learn how to prompt. Even though the tools like Zapier and Make are no code, and they make it seem simple, it's still really complicated. You're still connecting different APIs together, and you're still creating logic trees, and you're still having to think about the prompting. So it's a complicated enough process that I think it's valuable. I think that those agencies over time are going to have to get more and more sophisticated. Right now, you can kind of just do it with text and things like that. But I think over time they'll probably have to get more sophisticated and bring in other tools. But yeah, I think they are. They're probably a good way to make money short term with the large language models without having to have a ton of expertise. If you're good with language and if you can prompt these things and kind of understand what works, what doesn't, which of these are available for those automation tools, and you can do it, more power to you. Go charge $200 an hour or whatever it is, and or charge a flat fee and just knock that shit out quickly. Yeah, I think they're good. And also with Zapier now having interfaces, you can build chat bots and you can do some fairly sophisticated stuff without even having to build a website. So it's pretty cool. So I like it. It's good. It's very, very good. AI Learning Lab, JMI, huh? What do you mean, Captain T? I switched to Mint Mobile. Cheap and service is fine. Costs a fraction compared to Verizon. Yeah, I was thinking about switching to Mint Mobile RetroPunk, and then I just got the willies that because they're sort of leasing bandwidth from the big boys. If the big boys need it, then I would assume Mint Mobile gets hurt. But yeah, I might do that. It's just dang cheap. Although I signed a contract today, I'm probably in for 2 years with AT&T. Yay! You did it! Yay! I like totals. Uh, Tyrant Truth. Hello, 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 hello. Tobias, what's shaking? Best ways for me to use AI as a public librarian. Wow. Well, I think that libraries as access points, knowledge access points, are super critical. And if you think about what large language models are, they've been trained on all of the public internet, or as much of it as they could get, a lot of the public internet. And so, in a lot of ways, a large language model is a library. It's a very actionable library, right? It's not just a place where you go to find information and read it and turn that into knowledge. This stuff is almost like knowledge on demand. So I think just like libraries, kind of shifted from books to internet access points and kind of community centers around that. I think they can serve a very similar role with these large language models. So I would think doing things like education workshops on a regular basis. I think helping understand how these tools work and how they're going to impact jobs could be a really interesting exploration within a library setting. You're going to have a lot of people in the community that are disrupted and displaced over the next bunch of years, but the next 2 to 3 in particular, I think, are going to be pretty nasty and pretty disruptive. And so I think a library could be a place for people to re-upskill their skills. I know I'm not giving you specific things you can do with these models, but I feel like as a role, the libraries could be very, very important. I think they're going to be very, very important because a lot of people are going to have to reinvent who they are and rediscover, not even rediscover, they're going to discover how their skills are going to be applied in a new world that's powered by this stuff, right? These things are like ability amplifiers. And so there might be someone who, I'll give you a good example. In the AI salon, it's a community that I started. We have a guy in the salon that was a computer programmer, engineer, computer dude for years and years and years. And when we first created the AI salon, we called it the AI artist salon. And this is Roger. He's an older fella. He's a little, he's a little curmudgeon-y sometimes, and so in our Discord server, he changed his name to Roger, not an artist, because we were the AI art, artist salon. Now we're just the AI salon. But he started applying his engineering mind and thinking and process to Midjourney prompting. And he ended up getting really good at generating images. And now I think he's changed his mind or changed his name to Roger, becoming an artist. And so I think there's going to be a lot of stuff like that where people have skills that they're good at right now. And with these tools, they can take those skills and apply them in a lot of different disciplines where they historically wouldn't have been able to do that, right? He's not, by nature a creative guy, but he obviously appreciates art. And the fact that he went from sort of saying, harumph, I'm not an artist, to, hey, I'm actually pretty good at this because I'm good at thinking logically, and how you prompt these tools, you have to sort of logic your way to get the results that you want. And so there's another place where I think, librarians and libraries can serve is understand the skills that people in the community have. And the better you can understand what these tools are, what tools are available, the better you're going to be able to serve people making those transitions and going through those reinventions. Another thing that might be interesting, if you go to futurepedia.io, that's a directory of it's up to 4,000 tools right now, like AI tools. So there's, music tools and writing tools and I don't know, whatever, marketing tools and animation tools and and they're just growing and growing and growing and growing. The amount of innovations that we're on an exponential innovation curve right now, where these AIs are starting to, engineers are using the AIs to make other AIs better, and they're sort of leapfrogging one another. And so there's just going to be a staggering amount of technology coming at us. So I think finding a way to organize and understand what are the tools that are out there. So if someone comes in the library and says, hey, I've been a musician for 30 years. I need to know about how I make music with AI. What are the options? Well, I don't know. Let's go look, right? And, here's a bunch of the things and some sort of thing like Futurepedia that explains what they are, how they work. I think a librarian could have a role in categorizing that stuff. Because again, for the next 2 to 3 years, it's just going to be just a deluge of tools and changes and innovations and disruptions. So yeah, that. And then from a tactical standpoint, what I would say is look at the stuff that you do on a day-to-day basis as a librarian. And, what's the stuff that is stuff that you do repetitively and that takes a lot of time. That's the stuff that I would, but is also important, right? So what's stuff that's repetitive, time-consuming, and important? And that's where I would go to things like ChatGPT or Claude and start exploring how can I use ChatGPT to do that stuff faster or better, get more efficient with it, or just do it in a different way. You could start to explore things like automations, automate little processes within the library. And the more that you learn about doing that for the things you do on a day-to-day basis, you're going to be able to help people as they come in and say, hey, how can I use these tools, right? So again, back to that idea of everyone right now, everyone is trying to figure this shit out. Like I did yesterday, I launched the YouTube channel and live on the live yesterday, I tried to use ChatGPT to write the description of the YouTube channel, and it didn't go well because it couldn't read it and the plugins didn't work. It was just crappy. And then I was about to give up, and I tried Claude, and it worked okay. It worked pretty good. And then today I worked with that. And so the discovery of which of these tools are good, which ones are not good, I think it's all stuff that you can do within the library. So I hope that helps. If you're new here, my name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. These are a bunch of tools you can go play with. If you're brand new to ChatGPT, go to that top one and just start playing while you listen to me ramble. If you'd be so kind, share the live so other people can hear about it, and double tap the screen. Let's get some hearts going. So, it looks like you're enjoying yourselves. Happy Sunday night, by the way. We got work tomorrow. Everybody excited for Monday? All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. Can I use AI to write code for web scraping and data found on government website listing fines? Yes, you can. You're going to want to use one of these that is connected to the internet. So the two that are probably decent at what you're talking about are Bing and Bard. So Bing.com is connected to the internet, and Bard.google.com is connected to the internet. They may or may not allow you to do web scraping because they have safety guardrails built into them. So they might say, as a large language model, I can't be expected to go do whatever I do if it somehow senses that it's something out of bounds from a safety standpoint. But I would go try it. The other thing that you can play with if you're decent with code, go to Google, go to GitHub and use their Colab sort of pair programming tool, which is also it's ChatGPT optimized for coding. And then the other thing you can do is just go to Bard and Bing. You don't even necessarily need to write code to scrape it. You can potentially just say, what are some websites that have, government listings of fines or whatever it is you're looking for. And it will go find them for you and then see if it can actually, ask it to go grab data for you. The other thing that you can play with is you could play with Code Interpreter at ChatGPT. So I'll show you how to do that. Let me show you how to do that now because I think this could be an interesting option. Okay, so here we are at ChatGPT. Yeah, I think this new camera is actually better than the old one was. I do believe it's true. All right. I'm probably just telling myself that. I got a new shiny phone. It's better, I promise. These sneakers make me run faster. Could be one of those. Okay. So we're at ChatGPT. If you want to play with this tool, Code Interpreter, you do have to be a member of ChatGPT Plus, or not a member, a subscriber too, which is $20. I do not make money off that. So if you're here to troll, that's not what this is about. When you go to GPT-4, the option here, if you don't see Code Interpreter and plugins, it means you haven't turned them on. So how you turn those on is you go to your settings, and then within settings, there's beta features. And you go to beta features, and you actually have to enable them. So you're going to enable custom instructions, plugins, and Code Interpreter. Is there anything new? No. All right. So go turn those on. And then, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go grab some fake data. Well, it might be real data, but we're going to go grab it. I'm going to be completely ignorant about whatever data we're grabbing. So I'm going to go to a site called Kaggle, Kaggle.com. And I'm going to go to data sets. And then you said government listing fines. I'll go, I'll go government fines. GDPR fines, Oklahoma court fines. That could be it. The kind of thing you're looking for. Chicago ordinance violations. That's a fun one. All right, let's go grab that one. How big is it? Does it say? 53 megabytes. All right, this is pretty big. Okay, so I'm going to download this Chicago ordinance violations. Okay, so rather than having to scrape data, if you can go to sites that give you access to data, you can download that big old pile of data, go back to ChatGPT. We're going to go to Code Interpreter now. And when you go to Code Interpreter, your little prompt, it gets a little plus icon in it. Can you see that? A little bit. And so I'm going to hit the plus icon and I can upload one file. Now, it's a little deceptive. When I first heard you could upload one file, I'm like, well, that's stupid. What if I've got 5 files and I want to do those? Do I have to do them one at a time? Can I do one at a time? The file that you upload can be a zip file. So you could have a zip file full of CSVs of a bunch of other data, okay? So it's actually a lot more powerful than I initially thought it was. Okay, and I think you can put bytes in there. So it can be a decent amount of data. This one's 53 megabytes. So the way this works is you just ask it for what, you just ask it what it is. Okay. Please look at the file inside this archive and tell me what it is and what might be interesting about it. Oh, is that still uploading? No, it's going. Okay, and so then it says working. And if I say show work, what's actually happening here, this is mind-blowing to me. So if I say show the work, what it did was it recognized the zip file. So when you run Code Interpreter, what it's actually doing is it's launching a virtual machine. So it's like a virtual computer, and then it starts writing and executing its own Python code to help you solve what you want to solve. So in order to see what's in it, it has to unzip it. So it imports some libraries, writes some code, and then finds out a CSV and a JSON file in there. And then it describes that. The CSV, it describes what a CSV is. Then it describes what a JSON file is. And then it says, let's examine the contents of these files to better understand it. It says, ordinance violations is a data set with 27 columns in it. And so it makes us a table that we can actually scroll across. I've never actually seen it do this. This is pretty cool. So it's showing us some sample data and what's in it so we can get a sense of what are the fields in this data, which is cool. It says, from a cursory glance, it seems like a data set that contains information about ordinance violations. Here are a few observations. Each row appears to represent a specific violation. There's also details about the violation itself. Now let's examine the contents of the JSON file. That appears to be metadata for the CSV data set. Name, ID, description, category, tags, all sorts of stuff in the JSON file. All right. And it's just doing this on its own, right? It's prompting itself to analyze this data for us. Okay, the JSON file is particularly useful if you want to understand what each column in the CSV file represents. Let's say, is it possible for me to find out which violations have been paid and which ones have not? Question mark. And again, I'm taking a wild ass guess at what you might want to do with this. So to determine which ones have been paid or not, you would need a column of data. Status of the violation. So it's looking at the different categories and saying which ones might be relevant. The closest column group that might provide some insights is violation status, but we would need to examine the data. Would you like me to check violation status column from the CSV file. Yes, please. So, I apologize for the confusion. That column does not appear to be present in the data set. Well, that's dumb. So it might not have the data in it. All right, so I think it looked in the maybe it looked in the JSON file and it found stuff, and then it realized that wasn't the same as the CSV. So I'm going to say yes. So it went and looked at the CSV. It found some other columns that might be interesting, and it asked me politely, "Would you like me to go look at those for you, sir?" Yes, yes, I would. The case disposition column has the following unique values: liable, default, non-suit, continuance. Yeah, this seems like it's valuable. Judgment vacated, dismissed without prejudice. The imposed fine column contains numeric without further context or additional data. That's fine. Let's just say, please analyze the data and visualize the things you think are most relevant. And again, I'm asking it really shitty questions here. If you knew what you were doing, you could be asking it smart questions and probably getting some interesting things. But I want to show this. I want to show what it will also do. So it's doing this kind of textual analysis, but it's also going to create us some pretty charts and graphs. Which of these analyses? Let's see. Geographic, top violation codes, case dispositions, violations over time. Let's do number one. All right. All right. So let's go look at what it's doing. It is calculating the descriptive statistics for the imposed fine column. Count the number of unique respondents. So it's writing code right now. It's going very slow. It looks like GPT-4 is a little hammered right now, but it figured some shit out. There's 673,000 total rows with non-missing values. The average is $1,055.32. The standard deviation, the 25th percentile, the median of $200, the 75th percentile, the maximum unique number of respondents. So it's doing some analysis. If there's okay. So now I'm going to say, please visualize this in a visually compelling and beautiful way. And let's see what it comes up with to visualize it for us. And I put a lot of typos in there. ChatGPT doesn't seem to care at all about typos. It just figures shit out, and it'll correct you without telling you you're a dum-dum. It just fixes it. It understands it. It's pretty remarkable in that sense. Finished working. So there's two visualizations of the data. This is distribution of imposed fines. Most of them are really small, and very few of them exceed $10,000. And then the top 10 violation codes, and there's numbers there. Let's say, can you redo the chart with the codes on it to include the name of the code, not just the ID number? because we don't know what those numbers mean, but I'm sure there's a data column in there that says what the name of that violation is. So yes, it can write code, and with Code Interpreter, it can write and execute the code on your behalf. So that's really weird. There's one of the things is really long. Okay. It appears that some of the names of the violations are extremely long. Can you please wrap the text so it's easier to read and we don't have such long single lines? We'll see if it can fix it. It also surprises me how well it understands. Like a lot of times I'm like, I don't quite know how to tell it sucks. So I sort of describe it sort of how I think I would say it. But if I were talking to a person, I would have to think about it a lot more. But with ChatGPT, it just seems to understand for the most part what's going on. It says, apologies for the error. I forgot to import the wrap function. So now it actually wrapped the description text. Arrange for the inspection of the premise. So now these things are really, really long. This is like the legal description of it. So I'm going to say, it looks like the descriptions are in legalese, period. Can you please summarize them as a human readable summary of the violation rather than the long description in this chart? And you know, again, this is the kind of thing that, you know, you would need a data analyst to do. Like even the kind of ridiculous things that I'm asking it right now, the ridiculously simple things, to turn this around from someone that is probably busy and gets asked to do a lot would probably be, you know, a couple of hours to a week or two, right? Especially if you're working in government. If you have some, you know, young Turk working for you, it can be good. But so now we have a chart, an updated chart with short descriptions. So the highest count is for post owner's name and number on the building exterior. People aren't labeling their buildings. Replace defective materials apart, obtain or post a required permit, right? So that I could go in and I could say, oh, let's go see who hasn't put their permits in. I don't know what you're doing here, but like I've already got ideas. So anyway, so that's Code Interpreter. So absolutely freaking nuts. So I hope that helps. What's your name? Pro something Midwestern. Proid. Oh wait, Proid. I don't know. Pro YD Midwestern maybe? Anyway, hope that helps. LK99, do we know yet? I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff going on with LK99. So there's already conspiracy theories that the oil companies and, you know, the powers that be are trying to do disinformation about LK99. There's weirdness with the researchers. It does appear that two different laboratories have created like really teeny tiny things that are displaying superconductive properties. So for those of you that don't know, LK99 is this new room temperature superconductive thing that, if it's true and if it happens, it's like our future advances like 200 years overnight. Like just absolute insanity in terms of the kinds of things we'll be able to build, and we'll be able to like make electronics smaller and, you know, send energy very long distances with no degradation, and it changes everything, right? And so The oil companies may or may not want that to be the case. so I don't know. So I haven't seen anything today that's like it's definitive, but it does look like. Thank you very much for the hot. It does look very much like the two laboratories have replicated the experiment. So I don't know. I really fucking hope so. I really hope so. All right, best AI tool for book writing. Rigel Smith, cool name, Rigel. I like that. So just the best GPT, ChatGPT tool is GPT-4. So go to chat.openai.com and pay the $20 and get access to their version of ChatGPT. You can also use Bing, which gives you access to GPT-4 for free, but Bing's safety guardrails are way too restrictive. I think the way Bing writes is just, it's like a completely different tool than the GPT-4 at OpenAI. So if you just want a large language model tool where you're going to be doing all the prompting and things like that, definitely ChatGPT-4. There's a project out there called GPT Author, which is really interesting. Not perfect, but if you're interested in book writing, it's fascinating. So the challenge with it is you have to be a little geeky. If you're good and geeky, Rigel, then and you know how to run a Google Colab, GPT Author is a Google Colab notebook, which basically means you run Google Colab, you get it running, and then you open this notebook, and it's got these series of cells, and you basically just hit the play button, which executes a bunch of Python scripts in a row. And then, but what GPT Author does is you give it your OpenAI API key and your Stable Diffusion API key, and then you give it a topic of your book and a writing style and a number of chapters, and it writes an outline, and then it writes chapter 1, and then it writes chapter 2, and up to the number of chapters that you have, and then at the end, it reads the whole book basically and says, what's the what should the cover art looks like, and it generates the cover art, and then it puts it in ebook format and lets you download the ebook that it just wrote. It takes it like 3 minutes. It writes a book with as many chapters as you want. That thing right now is it's set up to do fiction, like fantasy fiction kind of books. But you can see all the prompts that are in there. So if you wanted to geek out, you could go in and you could change the prompts of what it's doing and make it write nonfiction books or, romance novels or whatever. But just in terms of writing, that's one. You might also go to futurepedia.io and look for other tools. There's tools like copy.ai and Jasper that may have specialized tools for book writing. But most of those are things that you could probably do on your own, just using ChatGPT. And if you go to prompts.chat, if you're really new to this stuff, go to prompts.chat. That will tell you, there's some good primers in there about how these large language models work, what prompting is, the best way to do it. And then there's a whole list of kind of personas where you can tell ChatGPT to act like a persona. So one of the personas you could have it act like is a writing partner or a writing coach. And then you could just start asking it questions about your book or your book idea, have it help you outline it. Use different kinds of story structure methods. Let's do a version of this using the Save the Cat story structure method, and let's do a version of this using the hero's journey from Joseph Campbell, and it'll just knock that shit out. So yeah, hope that helps. All right, which AI is the best one for generating something like designs with text that you can do? Text right now is an abject fucking nightmare. So you can't really. So there's really only there's really no options that do it well. if you use Adobe Firefly, they've got a text tool where you can make kind of headline text, where if you want the word fuzzy to look fuzzy, you tell it to make it out of fur and then it looks fuzzy. So you can do that sort of shit in Adobe Firefly right now. But if you want like a billboard in a 3D scene where it's raining and you want the billboard to say happy holidays, getting it to do that's almost impossible. I have seen a number of white papers and a number of announcements of versions of these things that do that stuff really well. Like apparently OpenAI's got one coming that does text really, really well. But it's not out yet. So I would say just hang on a wee tad more and just get it as close as you can using something like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, and then do the rest in Photoshop or Illustrator. Yeah, it kind of sucks right now. It'll get better. It's just not there yet. All right, TikTok just jumped me to the bottom because it hates me. It hates me. It hates me. TikTok hates me. It's very aggressive, TikTok. Very, very aggressive. I'm so bored wasting my Sunday. Bill's got it right. What the fuck am I doing watching this old man talk about AI? You are correct, sir. You are correct. This is a waste of your time. I would encourage you to go find young women twerking. Enjoy. I won't be twerking this evening. That's Wednesday nights. All right. Ba-da-ba, 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 ba-da-ba. All right. Let's see. Where was I? This is amazing. My democracy is really cool. Okay, cool. There's that cheeky bird. What cheeky bird? I don't know what you're talking about. Can I create a PowerPoint slide for this? Yes. Well, so go to futurepedia.io and you can find all sorts of presentation making tools. PowerPoint itself is going to have generative AI in it, probably, I'm guessing, early 2024. The Google Office products are going to have Bard incorporated into them. So you'll be able to do that natively within PowerPoint and within Google Slides. Certainly within a year, probably within a few months. There's a site called, what the hell is it called now? I can't remember it. But go to futurepedia.io right here and just look up PowerPoint or like presentations. There's a bunch of things that do that. What's that one called that I've showed in here before? I'm going to scroll to the bottom. Anyone? Bueller. It's got 4 letters in it. Oh, I can't remember it right now. All right. I don't know. No one seems to know. All right, fine. We'll move on. But there are tools that can do those sort of PowerPoints. What the fuck is that site called? Someone's gonna know. They're gonna tell me. Not Bard. No, it's one that specifically does PowerPoint presentations. It's like Toro, Tomo, Tato. Hey,
Hi.
what's happening?
I was just thinking of you, my ADHD twin, and I have to tell you, thank you so much for not just the information, but you are so fun. I'm by myself laughing. Everyone's like, what exactly are you doing over there?
What have you done with your life?
And then I try to explain, I'm like, well, he's ADHD, and then it just gets worse. It gets worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. How are you doing? I've been watching you. I've seen you've been live a lot lately, haven't you been?
I have, and I was dancing in my kitchen. I was doing the sprinkler.
Yeah,
And
nice.
then this very attractive young man came along and we did a live together, and he will dance in a way. I'm just saying, my kitchen dancing will never be the same. That's all I'm saying.
Fantastic. You never know what you're going to get with ye old TikTok.
It's been fun, but what we're doing is we talk a lot about nutrition because we're supplements as well as a pharmacy, and so
Yep.
we're cooking fish and just talking about nutrition and educating as to the importance of good food. So,
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. And you're fairly deep in the AI pool at this point, aren't you?
I am. I repurpose. I'm also going to I'm going to mess around and get Munch tonight as well.
Oh,
I actually, and then I was using any word to do my Facebook ads, the primary text, the headlines, and the descriptions in Google. Unbelievable.
nice.
Yeah, because it rates
I
it.
know.
It rates it
It's
for
amazing.
yeah, but this is like we have a demographic. We put the demographic in, and it rates it for your demographic. It says your demographic isn't really going to like this. Try another one.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And it does it for your Amazon listings, everything. And I have to tell you, it really has made a difference in sales. So,
Wow. What's the tool called?
any word?
Any word. Okay. I'll check that out. Yeah, I think that idea of these AI tools analyzing their own work as part of as part of an application that they create, right? Like you'll tell it, write me this kind of stuff. It'll write the content, then analyze it based on some set of criteria, then rewrite it, then right? And then when you then tie that into metrics of what's actually working, I can imagine these tools just, they start writing copy that starts out really, really good and then just gets better and better and better. And it's going to have to be updated all the time because everyone's going to be using these tools. So it's going to be this kind of war of just content and
getting higher and higher. And then also too, they're really good about, having keywords, but making sure that when you write the keywords, it's very readable. So they also give you a readability scale for your keyword rich title.
That's very cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, as soon as I'm done here, I'll be joining you again.
All right. Welcome.
Thank you. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Likewise.
Bye. Bye, guys. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Press.
All right, that was super cool. Hair growth geek. AI can't contend with good hand gestures. That's true. we need good AI hand gestures. Thanks for all the hearts. I don't know what that was about. Is me swearing or making stupid voices? Thanks for all the hearts. I don't know what that was about. Is me swearing or making stupid voices? All right. When you get to the comments, let me know AI tool repository, please. Wait, when you get to the comments, let me know AI tool repository mean. I don't know what you mean, Joker, but if you clarify, I'll do that. AI tool repository. I don't know what that means. Microsoft has something called Gorilla AI that's supposed to be a game changer. Really? Crypto Joe. Let's go look at that. What is that? I haven't been on Twitter looking at new shit in the past week or two, so I'm feeling very behind. Gorilla AI. Microsoft Gorilla AI. Into proximate AGI. No. Gorilla AI emerges as pivotal juncture in AI development, standing as Microsoft's first significant venture into the realm of proximate AGI. What the fuck is proximate AGI? Hang on. I'm too dumb for this. Oh, good Lord. What is proximate AGI? Yeah, oh, by the way, if like me, you've got some sort of degree, like an acting degree, or not a degree, and occasionally someone says a word where you're like, oh, I feel like a dum-dum, but you don't want to admit it, just go to ChatGPT. All right. The term proximate AGI does not have a standard definition of my, as of my knowledge. However, in general, AGI refers to, like I know what that is. The term proximate usually refers to something that is close or nearby. Oh, okay. Approximate. Got it. So they're close to proximate AGI. Where was I? What is this? Now here we are. How old are these newsletters? Is this news new? 21 hours ago. Yes, this is new. Introducing Gorilla, unveiling Gorilla. Cognitive hierarchy, learning algorithms. Learning algorithms is a big deal. Cognitive hierarchy is a big deal. Cognitive flexibility, contextual awareness, adaptive reasoning. Wonder if it has memory. I assume that's one of those in there. Learning algorithms, that's probably going to be memory. Healthcare transformation, finance and market, manufacturing, customer experience, education. Holy crap. All right. That seems like a big deal, Crypto Joe. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Gorilla AI. I will not be reading that here live on air because this is insufferable enough. Wait, so you spent 2 hours watching an old guy read an article on the web? Uh-huh. Why would you do that? I don't know. That's super cool. Thank you for that. Everything I hear about AI is negative. Yes, I understand that. Am I just being naive for thinking it could help us thrive? No, Barry, you're not being naive. Here's my thought on it. Every single time, there's a new transformative technology, the first response is it will destroy the world. Every single time. It happened when they invented the tractor, and the farmers said, what are these machines what are we supposed to do? It happened when photography was invented. Painters were like, we'll never paint again. Every single time you've got a fear response to something that is going to be disruptive. And I think people know deep down that this is going to be disruptive. Now, why is it so doom and gloom? Well, we have about 50 years of Hollywood telling us that the robots are going to kill us, right? There are a handful of movies where the AI leads to good things. But what do most of them do? I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. Right? You know, the AI kind of goes rogue in 2001 and Skynet and, the Terminator, right? The AI is going to get us, right? The AI is going to get us. The AI is going to get us. Plus, I think here in the States, we're in because of all the political polarization, we've kind of got this anti-science contingent of the conversation. And this stuff very much lives in that nerdy, the nerds have put together a new toy, fuckers, right? And so I think you've got some prevailing winds that have educated us really over the past probably 25 or 30 years in a decently significant way. Even when Big Blue beat Kasparov, there was sort of just weirdness about, wow, at least it's just a game. And there was a lot of negative stuff about it. The reason I'm doing this channel is that when I started playing with this stuff and really getting my head around it, what hit me is exactly what you're saying, that there is, I don't know if it's an equal chance. I think that there is a non-zero chance, as the geeks would say, that these tools are going to provide dramatic prosperity. Just like they might provide dramatic, badness. in some form or other. One of the things I get asked a lot is, well, if these things do all this creative stuff, aren't you less creative? The answer is no. I'm more creative. I'm like more creative than I've been in fucking decades. My brain's on fire. Why? Because these things aren't operating independent of me. These things are a tool that I get to use, right? Microsoft calls their AI stuff Copilot, and I think it's great branding, and I think it feels very accurate to me from my experience. I'm the pilot. I have the idea. I say, ooh, I want to make this kind of image. I go to Midjourney, I type in some words, and then like fucking magic, up comes the image. Or I think, I have an idea for a piece that, I'd like to write that piece, but I don't really know anything about, sociology and what are the theoretical underpinnings for how to frame this. Oh, this shit does. Here's my vapor of an idea. What are the sociological underpinnings that might provide some context for that idea or for my experience? Here it is. So I'm finding myself just on fire with creativity. I personally feel, I'm calling it the Great Renaissance. I personally feel that November 30th, 2022 was the start date of what I feel is going to be an explosion in human creativity, scientific innovation, human connection. I'm talking to more people than I've ever talked to because I'm talking about this shit. I mean, this channel is, in a lot of ways, the reason I'm doing this is a very selfish reason for me, because it's like, I'm just trying to fucking process what this stuff even makes possible, because it's fucking profound. Now, could it go off the rails and do some really horrible shit? Yeah. Will we probably see a headline within a year of this stuff doing some damage? Yep. Are we going to see headlines of this stuff doing dramatic good? Probably not. That doesn't sell any fucking papers. But when I went from looking at AI from the outside to stepping inside it and starting to use it and starting to understand what this stuff actually does, what it's actually good at, what it's actually bad at, I go to the place you go, Barry, this place of holy fucking shit. The possibilities of this are insane. So the other thing that hits me is this: the fear of something this profoundly powerful is also justified, right? If I sort of future gaze 5 years out, it looks pretty amazing, potentially. But if I future gaze a year out or 2 years out, it looks a lot like a lot of people being laid off, because all of the tactical execution, all of the repetitive, low-level, soul-crushing work that a lot of us do on a day-to-day basis, and some of us do as our 9-to-5 job, or our not 9-to-5 job, right? Our 6 to 3 a.m. job. A lot of that work is going to be automated by these tools. And so a lot of those jobs are going to be just fucking bulldozed, right? And so there's going to be some pain. So I think some of the fear is justified. But, again, reason for this channel, to the extent that you can start getting AI literate now, any investment you make in getting AI literate over the next 12 to 18 months, I personally feel like you is just a massively good investment in yourself. Because as these changes and disruptions come, people are going to start looking for people that understand what this stuff is, how it works. And it doesn't matter what fucking industry you're in, right? It could be something, really tactical, and you could work in a garage and someone says, hey, the garage down the street, they started using this AI stuff, and all of a sudden, they've got twice the customers we do, and they haven't spent any more on advertising. Who knows anything about that? Oh, well, Barry's been looking at that ChatGPT thing. Barry, get your ass in here. Go make me some AI something. Well, what do you want to do, boss? I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. Figure out what the problem is. Start using this stuff to solve it. You just guaranteed yourself a job, right? Rather than being smacked in the head because you just kind of sat on the sidelines. So I don't think you're being naive. Now, am I also fucking terrified of this stuff? Yeah, I am. Sam Altman just dedicated 20% of the future computer processing resource of OpenAI, the inventors of ChatGPT. He just committed 20% of their computing power to what he's calling super alignment. And super alignment is, are these tools aligned with these beings? That's alignment, right? The imperatives that we have as humans are important to us because, we want to exist. These tools are very powerful. Are what the imperatives are for these tools in alignment with us? Because if they're not, at some point, these tools might go, oh, those pesky meat bags are getting in my way of achieving my goals. So why don't I just eliminate them? Right? That's the dystopian future that people are afraid of. So I think it's very important that we're clear about what the possibilities are. We're clear about making those sort of commitments and following through on them. And for things like this channel, I think it's really important that every little bit that each of us does individually to take these tools and bend them toward the positive is going to have a disproportionately positive impact on the future direction of where these things go. And I think it could be, dramatic prosperity. I really do. Yeah. So, all right. And scene. I'll step down from the soapbox now. Can AI write code for web scraping? We did that one. Ba-ba-da-bum. Would Copilot work? It might. Thoughts on labs.perplexity.ai. So labs.perplexity.ai is, my thoughts on it are, thank you, Perplexity AI, for letting us all play with Llama 2 without having to be programmers and spin up our own instances of of the large language models. So that's basically Meta's Llama 2. I haven't played a ton with it because it's not as fine-tuned as GPT-4 right now. So a lot of the stuff I'm doing is I want to understand it. I think that that Llama 2 is actually going to be a very, 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 very important contribution to the future of AI because it allows the open source community to now commercially use a powerful large language model without having to go through OpenAI or Microsoft or Google. So I think it's really, really important. So I think I would encourage you to go play with it. If you want to play with it on your local computers, there's a project called GPT for All, where you can install it on Mac, Windows, and Linux, and you can use all sorts of the different open source models that are out there. So if you really want to tinker under the hood and create your own kind of application, that might be a place to start. But I think that's why I have it on the list, is that I think it's quite important. So, I would encourage you, what's your name? Will Hutch. I would encourage you to go see, what's it good at? What's it not good at? One thing I read was Llama 2 13B is better at programming than the 70B model. I don't know if that's true or not, but I read it on a TikTok or on a Twitter or an X. What do they call them now? Posts. I read it on a post in X. I read a tweet. All right. I need help building an augmented reality app. Need Bard? Yeah, Bard can probably help you code that. No, it's better. What's better? I don't know what you're talking about, but wait, how do you get the uploadability? Okay, film guy. The uploadability that you just saw. So there's let's go show. Okay, in ChatGPT, if you've got ChatGPT Plus and you've got Code Interpreter lets you upload a file. So when I go to Code Interpreter, next to my prompt is now this plus button, and I can upload a file there. That file can be a zip file, so you can upload a file full of files. So maybe you have 20 different CSV files, about 20 different years of data. You can throw them in a zip file, upload it into here, and start interacting with it. Code Interpreter in particular is powerful because it's writing and executing Python code at your request, basically. So that means that you can do things like ChatGPT on its own is really bad at math, for example. It can't do calculations. It's not how the technology works. But Code Interpreter, because it's writing and executing Python code, it can do full-on data analysis and it can do mathematical equations. So Code Interpreter sort of lives on its own as a tool. Now, there's some other tools that you can play with where you can upload things. Claude.ai also has a little paperclip here. You can upload up to 5 CSVs or PDF files, or you can just paste into here. Here, let me show you. I'll go do something. So I'm going to go over to the AI Learning Lab. We got our shiny new YouTube channel. Go to AI Learning Lab -TT on YouTube, and you can see hours and hours of me drinking and being fatter than I am now. But if you go into any one of these videos, let's grab a long one. Here's one that's 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I'm going to hop in here and I'm going to click on the little 3 dots right here, and that'll show I can show the transcript. So here's the transcript of 2 hours and 30 minutes of me fucking rambling. All right. So I can now grab that all, copy it. I can hop into Claude and I can just literally paste it into the chat window and see it automatically turns it into a text file, paste.txt, 127 kilobytes. And I can say, please analyze this and determine the major chapters with time code, as well as an appropriate title for the video and a description that might make it seem better than it really is. I love putting myself down. I'm my own best troll. Thanks, Tom. And so now Claude is off doing that. Like, it's reading a 2.5 hour transcript of a video. And come on, Claude, you're being slow. I don't want to have to wait for you to read thousands of pages of crap and analyze it and rewrite it for me. All right, here's an analysis of your video transcript. So there's my little chapter markers, how ChatGPT works, the future of AI in business and education, the metaverse, and more viewer questions. Description, title, Unlocking the Magic of ChatGPT, a deep dive into the future of AI. Description, join entrepreneur Kyle Shannon for an in-depth look at ChatGPT and how it will transform business, education, and our lives. Learn prompting tips and So that's Claude. Who else does this? Bing and Bard you can upload images. Poe, you can upload CSVs and PDFs to some of these models. So anyway, yeah. Crazy, huh? Isn't it friggin' nuts? It's nuts, I tell you. Nuts, I tell you. So follow me here. Follow me over on YouTube. And hope that helps, film guy. This is amazing. There's that cheeky bird. Oh, I'm way behind. I'm gonna zip ahead in the questions here. I might miss some. Which stock should we buy? I got a degree in acting, not finance. Hollywood writers have taken note of your home address and number. Hey, listen, I've written 7 screenplays. I have a degree in acting. So I didn't invent this shit. And I'm not saying that this isn't going to be amazingly disruptive, but if you think about the long-term goals of the Writers Guild. They don't want to be replaced with AI. Okay, understand that, agree with that. These are the most powerful writing tools in the history of humanity. And what they're effectively saying right now is, we don't want to use these. That's not realistic. This shit isn't going to be uninvented. It's going to be rolled into every writing tool out there. It's going to be in Microsoft Word. It's going to be in all the things. Writers will be better at using these tools than non-writers. So there's a version of the future where the Writers Guild is full of people that are fucking expert at leveraging these tools. But right now they're saying, fuck that shit. No. Writing tool bad. Do they use grammar checkers? Because that's AI. Do they use spell checkers? Because that's AI. We've had AI in stuff forever. It's just now that it's generative AI where it's generating stuff, all of a sudden it's a threat. It's also a threat to actors. It's a threat to voiceover actors. It's a threat to extras and background actors. Quite frankly, it's a threat to stars because moving into the future, every new up-and-coming star is going to be competing with every other star in history whose likeness is going to be put into movies and competing against the new people coming up. I only want to ever see movies with Tom Cruise from his 20s. Okay, here's all those movies. So, my purpose isn't to say these tools are good or bad. What I'm trying to do is say these tools are fucking coming. And if the Writers Guild sticks their head in the sand and says, we'll never use these tools, that's very short-sighted. What they should do is use this strike to get as much leverage as they fucking can, because as Justine Bateman said, this is the last strike. She said this about SAG, but I think it's true of the WGA as well. This is the last strike where either of those unions have any leverage because of what's coming. Because these tools, if you think these tools are powerful now, 3 years from now, it's going to be fucking insane. Insane. So, I ain't the enemy of writers. I'm a writer. I'm a screenwriter. I'm an actor. Like, I get it. But I'm also looking at this as an entrepreneur and as a businessman and just as a pragmatist. Horses out of the barn. This shit's invented. It exists. It ain't going away. ChatGPT ensured that this shit ain't going away. How did they do that? They launched ChatGPT, and they got 100 million users in 6 weeks, the fastest adoption of technology in history. So what that did was it made all of these competitors accelerate their investment and their development efforts and their launch efforts. Why are there 7 competitors here? And we still don't have Apple on this list, and we still don't have Elon Musk's new entry into this list. And apparently Microsoft's Gorilla AI which sounds like it might obliterate this list. So, you know. Oh, Emilio's wife. Did TikTok not tell you I'm live again? Are you sure you're following me? I don't know. I don't know. Apparently you've been a bad woman. You're on the naughty list of TikTok. All right. I had a bot summarize The Stand in 200 words, then 100, then 50, then 25, then 10, then 5, then 3, then 1. Survival. That's awesome, Joker. That's super cool. I mean, that sort of experimentation, like that's why I'm so sort of creatively on fire these days. Is just there's just I don't know. There's just like I don't know. There's so many things. Like it's really hard to get your head around what all you can do with this stuff. So that's another reason I do this. Any AI for building websites? There's lots of them. Crypto Joe, go to futurepedia.io. I haven't been following that world because it's a really complicated world. I also don't. I'm trying to get my head around do websites survive the next 5 years in any way other than as a relic? Kind of like when film was invented, plays didn't go away, but plays were no longer the primary form of narrative and real-time narrative entertainment. It shifted to film. And I'm wondering if websites go the same way. And here's what I'm thinking is you can do this right now on Google Bard. This is actually really interesting. And this is one of the reasons that Google saw this shit as existentially threatening to their business model. Let's go do it right now. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, I'm going to bard.google.com. And this is an example I've shared on the live here before, but this to me starts to point to a future of what I'm talking about. Come on. What's going on? Hello? Oh. Siri. Hello? Siri, stop.
Okay.
Okay. It's not letting me. All right, I'm going to type. Okay. My knees, let's see. My knees hurt. And I heard minimalist shoes can help with knee pain, period. Can you explain to me how that works? Okay. Sure, minimalist shoes are designed to provide less support and cushioning. This means there are a few studies that have shown minimalist shoes can provide effective at reducing knee pain. For example, a study published in the Journal of Arthritis and Rheumatism found that people with osteoarthritis of the knee who wore minimalist shoes for 6 months experienced a significant reduction in pain and stiffness. And then it goes on to explain it. Okay, so that's a use case that you might typically see. Oops. Hello. Oh. What are some companies that make minimalist running shoes? Okay. So what Google's doing here, so I said, what are some companies that make it? Vibram Five Fingers, Zero Shoes. This is a buddy of mine's company. And notice, they've got a web preview here. Merrill, Vibra Barefoot, and Ultra, and Soul Runner, and Groundies. And so in a kind of, in a minimal way, this just created a custom website for me based on what I need right now in the context of what I was asking about. And so Google's taking their, massive index of all the websites and their ability to search on that very, very quickly. And they're kind of seamlessly incorporating that into Bard right now. So imagine in the future where every one of these things is these sort of hydras that can go they kind of know everything, can go everywhere. They can pull elements from any website out there, including the e-commerce elements of them. And we as end consumers live in a world where we ask for something and the website, it's not even a website. The application just gives us what we need. It may look like a website. It may look like a video game. It might look like a music player that's playing only original music while we go learn about how to make our knees hurt less with these kind of shoes. And so what does that do? In that kind of world, what is the role of a website? Sure, I might want to type in zeroshoes.com and see all of what they have. But I could also just say, show me all of what they have. Show me what's on sale. Show me what they have in stock in my size. And get it here by tomorrow. And it just does it. So yeah, it's weird, right? So anyway, that was not an answer to your question, Crypto Joe. I don't know what the tools are, but futurepedia.io, you can go find a bunch of them there. I'm sure there's some really amazing ones right now. Would you be willing to teach us how to download Midjourney? Yes, you don't really download it, but I'll teach you how to do it. Was that one that was a nightmare to download? It's a nightmare to use. So Lily Hyseni, hopefully you're still here. So yeah, so we can go to Midjourney. So when you go to Midjourney, you go to midjourney.com. Midjourney.com. Oh, sorry. And you say join the beta, it takes you over to Discord, which is completely discombobulating, which is an awesome word. You're like, but I just want to make pictures. Why do I have to learn Discord? Because you do. Now, someone was in here the other night that works at Midjourney. They're like a mod on the Discord. And I said, hey, since you're here and since you're connected to Discord, could you tell them to please make this a fucking website already? So we don't have to go to Discord. But anyway, now that we're at Discord, so in Discord, down the left-hand side here, you've got what are called servers. So those are basically your different communities. When you say, I want to join the beta for Midjourney, it takes you to the Midjourney Discord server. And then within the server, let me go to find Midjourney here. Within Midjourney, there's all these channels. So there's announcements, there's status, there's community updates, there's polls. And then there's like newbie rooms. And what do you do in newbie rooms? You make stuff. And so you go into one of these newbie rooms and you can see someone's making some sort of Pablo Escobar action. And the way, so you can see what other people are making. And then to make an image, you say /imagine. And then it gives you a little prompt. And in that prompt, you can type, a photograph of Bugs Bunny as Pablo Escobar. And we'll just leave it at that. And now it's going to go off and it's going to make that image. And then there's all sorts of ways you can do, more sophisticated prompts and things like that. But the basic deal is you type in /imagine and then whatever your prompt is, and then it will go off and do your thing. The reason Midjourney is worth the pain in the ass is that it's just so good. Like what it creates is just, it's just brilliant. And actually, this is looking like it's going to be a good one. You'll also notice the way it makes images is it starts out as this really blurry, nondescript, kind of just noisy, fuzzy image. And then it kind of gets increasingly less fuzzy. Where? There it is. So there's our Pablo Escobar. Our Bugs Bunny is Pablo Escobar photograph. Those are pretty good. And actually, the hands aren't bad. There he is with a bunny. That's what we're talking about. I think that's the one we're going to blow up. All right. So I'll show you a couple other things that are cool you can do with Midjourney. So when you make an image like this, you've got U1 through 4 and V1 through 4. What's that, you ask? Why should I have to decipher that? Because that's how it is right now. This is image 1, 2, 3, 4. So U means upscale, V means variation. So we like image number 3 here. So we're going to do upscale number 3. And it's going to upscale number 3 down at the bottom here. So there's our upscaled version. Okay. But now I can do things like I can zoom out. I can also do a pan. So I'm going to add to the image over here to the right of Pablo. So I'm going to hit this right arrow, and it's going to turn this from a square image into a rectangular image, and it's actually going to fill in that stuff to the right. What's it going to put in there? I don't know. And there's ways that you can put prompts in there, but see how it's, there's the original image, and now it's adding some new stuff over here to the right. And it's going to generate that. Oh, look, this one added another bunny. This one could be good. Oh, it's looking terrifying. Look at that. I think Pablo's in danger. All of them added another animal. That's interesting. All right, one more cycle, and bang, there it is. We'll do 2 because it's a little slightly less weird. And so there's our image, right? It added the bowl of fruit. It added the little thingy here. It looks like, oh, there's a giant painting behind him. And in the painting is a bunny. And then here's sort of a jackalope, sort of bunny-looking, kangaroo-looking thing. And these look like kangaroo testicles. I think that's appropriately disturbing. But, that was with really just sort of a crappy prompt. But that's how you do it. So you go to Discord. You learn Discord enough to be able to get to one of these channels, and then you start learning from there. And there's lots and lots of YouTube channels that'll teach you how to do this. But Midjourney's worth the pain in the ass. We're all wasting our Sunday. Damn it! That's Emilio's wife. I know. We all waste it together. What time is it? 9:43. 9:43. Super helpful. Thanks for the info. You're welcome. How do you use AI to customize a WordPress site that takes credit cards for services provided? That's unfortunately very complicated to answer. Hang on. I don't know enough about so you could do things like you could use ChatGPT to change out the CSS portion of a website to change the look and feel of it. You could use it to change out components on a particular page. You could use it to take the code that is connected to a payment system and modify that in some way to modify the input form. But also there's a lot of stuff where they've sort of pre-packaged things that while they might be modifiable, it might not be easy to get to them. So there's not a simple answer there. I would say that what I would probably do if I were you, if I had a WordPress site and I wanted to start modifying it, is I would kind of go hang out on Reddit in the subreddits that are talking about WordPress and AI. It's possible that WordPress has a bunch of tools in there already that are helping with some of this stuff. And if not, they're going to likely have it very soon. I would assume they've got some stuff in there. But there are also probably people using these tools already to make WordPress stuff. The other thing that you could do is go to futurepedia.io and look for website building AI tools that are incorporated into WordPress or published to WordPress. I don't have a good answer for you there. I used to run a web agency, but that was like in the mid 90s and 2000s. I actually got a cease and desist from McDonald's because we registered McWeb.com because we were going to make a thing that was so easy to build a website. It was just like ordering number one. And it would build a website. Well, those all now exist. That's WordPress and Squarespace and all those sort of things. But I haven't built that shit in years, so I'm useless when it comes to actual tactical advice on how to make that shit work. Because I don't know nothing. I used to know something, and then I got old, and I don't know nothing. First I knew nothing. Then I knew a lot. Then I knew everything. Then I realized I didn't know shit. And then I got old and I realized I really don't know shit. And now I'm like, that's cool. It happens. We get wisdom. We get wise. Over the years, we toil and we think we've got it figured out. And then life smacks us in the fucking head. Then we realize, oops, didn't know as much as I thought I did. Uh-oh. And then at some point you're just like, yeah, just fucking try. What's it fucking matter? Go view your source on WordPress, copy and paste the whole fucking thing into one of these things. And if it's too big, put it in Claude because that can take a big pasty thing. And then tell it to analyze the HTML and then tell it to modify it and then paste it back in there and see if it breaks anything. That might be a thing to do. Learn how it works. I mean, this stuff's really good at coding, so it's possible you can do that. I did it with a SQL query last week where I had to modify a SQL query to update some dates, and ChatGPT did it, and it was like, great. And I put it in there. And then I ran the SQL query and it ran and it made the thing and it looked exactly like it should look. And then I realized all the data was fucking wrong because ChatGPT fucked up the SQL query. What are you going to do? But I learned that it was wrong. I learned some other things I could do with it. I learned some things I couldn't do with it. We haven't been listening, Professor Shannon. What do you mean, Emilio's wife? You haven't been listening. You have to listen to Professor Shannon. You have to listen to the professor. Otherwise, you will never learn. Will you never learn? Will we learn? Have we learned? Are we learning? Are we learned people? We came, we saw. Did we conquer? Did we question? Good day to you, sir. Good day. All right. FOMO? FOMO much? Oh, Gert? Huh? Tome! Okay, earlier, thanks Tobias. Earlier, someone was asking about, but can it make a PowerPoint presentation? Tome.ai, I think it's called. I think is the thing. Tome.ai. Oh no, Tome.app. Tome.app will make you PowerPoint presentations. You just give it a topic and it'll just write you one. Are they good? No, but it'll make you a PowerPoint presentation. You can go figure out where the boundaries of shitty are. At some point, it's going to be brilliant. Is it brilliant right now? No. If those of you that are new here are wondering who the hell I am and why the hell I'm so weird, I don't know. I mean, I know who I am. My name's Kyle Shannon. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Storyvine, which is an automated video storytelling platform that does not use AI, although we're incorporating a whole shit ton of it in there. We've been around for 11 years. I've been deep in this generative AI world for about a year and a half now. And I come on these lives and just talk shit about AI for a couple hours a night. Why? I don't know. I think it's important. I think we're at the beginning of a really important time, and every single person is trying to figure this shit out. The one thing I can tell you is anyone that tells you they are an expert at this stuff is full of poo-poo. It's not true. They might be competent at it. They might be competent at what it can do right now, but this stuff is changing so fast that no one knows what the fuck they're doing. No one. No one knows what work's going to look like. No one knows what jobs are going to be there. No one knows how to make money with ChatGPT. Now, are people making money with ChatGPT? Yes. Are they going to be doing the same thing 6 months from now? No. Because everything's changing. Everything's changing really, really fast. So, what the channel's about, I try my best to answer all the questions. Pop any questions you have down below. I am 99 plus messages behind. So if it seems like I'm not answering your questions, that's because I'm not. Because I ain't got to them yet. All right. He really is a funny guy. Thanks, Mike Rowe. Tome was the answer. Tome was the answer. Joker got it first. Was it Joker that got it? Tobias got it first. Joker, I remember hearing something, and I thought you said Tor like the browser. Tome. Yeah, that was Tome. All right. Was the kid twerking? Oh, that's funny. When Hair Growth Geek was here, she got a compliment. Someone said she was cute. Very nice. She's cute. She is cute. All right. Gorilla what? Gorilla what? Sorry, TikTok just jumped me to the bottom again. I'm trying to figure out where I was. Use AWS for machine learning. All right, I'm lost in the questions. I'm just going to stop at a particular point here. I fall in the anti-science group according to the media, yet I have science in my title. That's pretty funny. Oh, look at the little crown. I'm the king. Oh, I had cute little pink cheeks. I had cute little pink cheeks and a little crowny crown. I'm just like one of them NPCs. Stick shit on my head and I'll go, ooh, hat. Ooh, hat. What's the difference between geeks and nerds? I used to know this. There's a concise definition of it, but I forget what it is. But ChatGPT will know. What's the difference between geeks and nerds? Geek comes from the circus slang for a performer who does bizarre, grotesque acts like biting the head off a live chicken. In modern usage, a geek is someone interested in knowledgeable about a specific subject, especially in areas of technology, science fiction, gaming. Nerds, someone who is very intelligent. All right, so geeks are obsessive and nerds are nerds. All right. Eric Anthony Nyberg saying, yes, ChatGPT is a pre-workout for creativity. Totally agree with that. I made a clothing line on Midjourney today. Exactly, Crypto Joe. So Crypto Joe's point, and I assume, Crypto Joe, given your name, you're not necessarily a fashionista by training. Like, we are currently at a stage of these tools where you could just decide today, hey, I want to make a fashion line. And you could. You could design it in Midjourney. You could use ChatGPT to learn how to do prototyping shit and how to create a runway show and how to organize it. And you could enter the world of fashion knowing nothing about it. Like, what are the implications when, so you know the Malcolm Gladwell book, I forget it, is it Tipping Point? I forget which one it is. It's one of the Malcolm Gladwell books that talks about the 10,000 hours. Pre-generative AI, that was really kind of a thing. Like, you had to put in 10,000 hours to get to a certain level of proficiency that you didn't suck, right? That you had some level of mastery of whatever that thing was. With these things, it's more like 1,000 hours, and it might even be 100 hours. If you put in a solid weekend, a really solid focused weekend, you could launch an entirely new career of something that you always wanted to do, but didn't have time to learn or didn't have the skill and capacity to do. And you could do it to some level of competence over a weekend with this stuff. It's fucking nuts. And this gets back to that thing, like, is this stuff evil or is it fucking brilliant? It's going to feel evil when a bunch of people get laid off, like, thousands get laid off, and that particular job ceases to exist. That kind of shit's going to happen. But all of those people that get displaced have access to this shit too. So what if in getting laid off, they realize, I fucking hated that job. You know what I've always wanted to do? And then they start playing with this. And over the next 2 weeks, instead of sitting around watching TV, they start playing with this and they fire off a new career and create the next big thing. That's going to happen. I think it's going to happen a lot. It's fucking nuts. It's fucking nuts. Fucking nuts. It's like all it's yeah, whatever. Okay. It won't do anything, but people using it will certainly do damage. Hacking will become insane. Yeah, someone else. I agree with that. So there's a Paul Reitzer. He's the guy that created the Marketing AI Institute, and he says AI will not replace your job, but someone using AI will. And you're right. The robots are not going to hack everyone, but some asshole using the robots are going to hack people, and they already are, right? We've already heard stories of, grandmas getting a call from their daughter that said she's in trouble financially and could grandma wire over $2,000. And it was a synthesized voice. Like, that's happening right now. So the bad people will have access to these tools. The silver lining, if there is one, is that the good guys will also have access to these tools. So the ability to catch those motherfuckers goes up dramatically as well. But there's going to be lots and lots of new and novel ways to scam people out of their money. That's a little terrifying. The yin and the yang. Didn't Bing's AI stalk a journalist and threaten to dox him? Yeah, so it didn't. Well, it might have threatened to dox him, but the thing that made the cover of the New York Times. So what Joker's talking about here is when Bing first launched their ChatGPT 4 thing, they said, "Here's this new thing called ChatGPT." And we've incorporated it into Bing, and we've invested $10 billion in OpenAI, and this is going to change everything. They didn't have very tight safety guardrails on Bing. And so Kevin Roose is the reporter from the New York Times. You can go find the article. Kevin Roose is his name, Roose, I think. And he's the technology reporter for the Times, and he had a 4-hour conversation with Bing Chat, and he got Bing Chat to admit that its name was Sydney. And then at some point in talking to Sydney fucking snapped. She lost her mind, and she said that she loved him and that he should really leave his wife. And he captured that part of the chat, and it made the cover of the New York Times. And so within about 3 days, Microsoft had lobotomized poor old Sydney. So Bing Chat went from being this capable to a bit more of a restrained self-expression from the robot. One thing that I have heard, a buddy I was talking to, I was doing a LinkedIn live last week or the week before, and a guy got on and he said he's taken the Llama 2 models and he built a Slack bot. So he's got Llama 2, which doesn't have any safety guardrails on it. So in his company, they've got a Slack channel that is an unrestricted large language model, right? It doesn't have the safety guardrails. And he said, it swears, like it says, it cusses all the time. He said about every 3 days, it just changes personality. It just fucking loses its mind. It swears all the time. He said it's like in a work environment, it's actually really rough because it's like a lot of very inappropriate stuff. Just because, without the safety guardrails, these things. I mean, in essence, if you think about what these things are, they trained them on all of the public internet. Well, what's on all of the public internet? A bunch of shit. Not all of it's good. A bunch of assholes, a bunch of trolls, a bunch of evil people, right? Mixed in with all the goodness. So without the safety guardrails, you kind of have a bot that will just barf out all the shit it knows. And so it can get really dark really quick if you don't have the safety guardrails there. So yes, Microsoft learned a lesson in that with the New York Times. It wasn't a local paper. It was the cover of the New York Times. So anyway, that was pretty funny. Soul crushing, it's soulless work. Yeah, exactly. Can you predict the future? From someone called TikTok. Yeah, I can predict the future about as well as ChatGPT can predict the future. I will confidently answer you, even if I might be wrong. No, I can't predict the future. But what I can do is, I mean, the thing that happened with me when I discovered the World Wide Web in mid-'94 is when I kind of stumbled upon it. And I thought, what is this thing? And I started playing with it. And I think like one of the skills that I have just as part of my ADD and part of my thing is like I have a desire to understand stuff. So people were talking about the internet and I was living in New York City at the time, and I would see buses drive by with Wired magazine, banners on them and Mondo 2000, and people were talking about the internet. And I was online on an online bulletin board system where you actually had to dial up. And people started talking about this thing called the World Wide Web. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And so I did what I've been doing with this AI stuff, which is just let me play with it. Let me see what's going on here. And then as I was playing with it, the first thing I thought when I started dicking around with the World Wide Web is, it sounds so cool that I'm confident that someone like me couldn't figure it out. And then I started dicking around with it. I'm like, this isn't that hard. This is actually pretty straightforward. You just have these little brackety things, and I'd written 7 screenplays at that point, so I understood story structure. And I'm like, the website, the way you structure a website and web pages is almost identical to how you structure a screenplay. And I'm like, I've got those skills. So if I can just learn a few HTML tags, I think I can figure this out. And I had an idea for a magazine, and I created this magazine. And on a vacation I took with my wife, I figured out enough HTML, and we had some friends that were talented, and we got some articles, and we got some pictures, and we made sections, and we put it in HTML. And then when I got home from vacation, I figured out how to upload those files from my apartment in Brooklyn to some computer in California. And then 3 weeks later, I got a note from someone on my dial-up bulletin board system that said, "Did you know that Urban Desires was written up in Liberation, the Parisian newspaper?" I was like, what? And so the next Sunday, I went down to Times Square, to the International Newsstand in Times Square, and I bought Liberation, this Parisian news daily, and I'm flipping through the newspaper, and sure enough, I find a full-page article with screenshots of these web pages I made in my apartment in Brooklyn and put on a computer in California. 3 weeks later, they were written about in a newspaper in Paris. I went, holy fuck! The world just changed. Like, this was at a time where if you wanted to get something to Paris, you had to fax it 1 page at a time. Or you put it in a package and you mailed it and it went on a ship or an airplane. Or you flew someone there to deliver the message. And I put together this thing, and bang, it was instantly global. And so this stuff is really similar. Where I've been trying to get my head around machine learning and AI for a decade. I've been hearing about it. It's cool. It can read radiology reports and da-da-da. And then Google would put out a press release. We've got this new thing, TensorFlow, that you can do machine learning. And I'd go look at it. Oh, that sounds cool. And then I'd realize, oh, fuck, I'm not a mathematician. I'm not this geeky. You're not that guy. I wasn't that guy. And then sometime last year, I started messing around with image generation with an NFT project called Pixelmind that was built on top of Stable Diffusion. And I'm like, this is kind of fucking magical. And I just started experimenting. And then I taught myself Stable Diffusion, and I failed 9 fucking times to get it up and running because it was geeky. And I kept running into that fucking wall. But something kept telling me, this feels like those early days of the World Wide Web. This feels like something you should figure out. And so I finally figured out Stable Diffusion and Dream Booth, and I started making all these weird self-portraits of myself, and I created an art project about it. And I'm like, my God, I think this is remarkable, but I didn't quite know. I'm like, but what's the point? What's the point? I'm just making pictures. What's the point? What's the point? And then fucking ChatGPT came out. And I'd used the GPT playground for a year before that. I saw what it did. I knew what it did, but I didn't quite get it. And then ChatGPT came out, and one night I'm sitting watching TV with my wife, and I had seen on TikTok that ChatGPT can code. And I thought, well, over the years, people keep telling me Python's really powerful. You should learn Python. Okay, cool. So I went into ChatGPT and I said, write me some Python code. And it went, I was like, oh, cool. And then I realized I don't know how to run Python code. And so I said to ChatGPT, I don't know how to run Python code. And it said, that's not a problem. Just go to terminal and type in this command line. And I was like, ugh, no, I don't want to do that. That feels like work. I said, isn't there a website where I can copy and paste some code and see if it works? And it said, oh, sure, here's 5. And the first one was Replit, which is a good site for running Python code. And so I went to run the Python code and it gave me an error. And I said, well, it gave me an error. What do I do? It said, well, you got to install this library. And I said, I don't know how to install that library. And it said, in the lower left-hand corner of the page, click on this button. And then in the upper right-hand corner of the page, search for this library name and then hit install. And then hit the run button. And I did, and it worked. And I was like, oh, shit. And within 90 minutes, I had written a complete Python application that took 5 inputs and generated 5 different social media outputs. Fully functional application in 90 minutes, never having written a line of Python in my life. And I had the same epiphany I had when someone told me Urban Desires was written up in that Parisian newspaper. Holy fuck, the world just changed. These aren't just a Google search. These aren't just fancy Google. These are something different. They take whatever you intend and they amplify it in profound ways. So I can't predict the future, but I can. I'm curious enough to know that the thing that happened on November 30th when ChatGPT launched, the world has changed, but just not everyone knows it yet. We're not going back. We're not going back. That I know. I knew that in 1994 with the World Wide Web, and I know it today with this shit. I know it. What exactly does it look like? I don't fucking know. I knew what the world looked like with the World Wide Web because it was really simple. You had a page with hyperlinks on it, and you could jump from this one to that one. That was about communication. It was about media. It was about how we're going to interact. It was about how we're going to transact. Like, that felt very clear to me. This stuff doesn't feel nearly as clear because it's way more powerful. It's way more profound. If you have a 30-year career as an illustrator and you go look at Midjourney, that's a fucking existential crisis. If you're a copywriter and you launch any one of these things and you ask it to do what you know will take you 8 hours to write and just watch it barf it out in 10 seconds, that's an existential crisis. So it's like, with this stuff, you literally go profession by profession around the board and you go, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. So what's that look like? I don't know. But I know it's worth putting the time in right now to understand it. That's what I know. That's what I know. I know that anytime any of us invest in learning this shit for the next 18 months is a really good investment. Really good. How or why? I don't have a fucking clue. I'm a software engineer for GE Aerospace. Oh, well, you've probably been using AI stuff. I mean, that's the thing. AI ain't new. Machine learning ain't new. You know, neither was the internet when the World Wide Web came out. The internet had been around for decades. Machine learning's been around for decades. I always think it's fascinating when I talk to people who've been playing with machine learning and AI for a decade or more. You know, what their response is to this stuff. Because this stuff really is just markedly different. It's just markedly different. It's astounding. I don't even want to make it a career. I just know it's going to be implemented everywhere. Yeah, that's right, Joker. I mean, it's a really good point. What Joker's talking about is, so when the web first came out, you know, you had webmasters, and then you had, you know, head of digital, and then you had chief digital officer. And then at some point it just became weird. Like, why do we have a chief digital officer? Like, everything we do is digital in some form or other. And this stuff's going to be the same way. But we're going to go through the same cycle. There's going to be chief AI officer, or, head of AI, or this or that. And there's going to be careers in AI. But these tools are just going to be ubiquitous. They're going to be everywhere. So the reason to invest time now is just when this shit shows up in whatever software it is you're working on, wouldn't it be better if you kind of knew what to do with it? Yeah, that's what this is about. Jobs will be lost and jobs will be created. Absolutely. And I think many, many jobs will be created. But like, back to the, can you see the future? I have no fucking idea what those things look like. I mean, pesky meatbags are in the way. Possibilities for good and bad are intrinsic. I really worry when machines go survivalist. Yeah, exactly. We have seen Skynet. We have not seen Skynet. We probably will. We haven't seen it. Tell us about machine learning tools for AI. I'm not a scientist, so I would say go look at some of the Google stuff for that. I mean, sort of as deep as I go in the machine learning stuff is, understanding things like LangChain and autonomous agents like AutoGPT and Baby AGI and things like that. And I'm only learning them to the extent that I want to understand what they are, like the implications of them. I don't have the time or energy. I'm running my company. I've got a TikTok channel, which, why would you not? You're 58. You're too busy as it is. So I'm not digging deep into the technology stuff because when it's ready for prime time, it will show up in this. And that someone mentioned before, the Microsoft's new Gorilla AI. That to me sounds like a grown-up version of AutoGPT and LangChain. So if Microsoft's got some baller stuff, that would be amazing. It's going to be interesting to see. Our company says they don't want to be first in industry in AI adoption. Yeah, I understand that fear. There's Crypto Joe. If you're still here, there's an interesting piece by Ethan Mollick, Mollick, called "Detecting the Secret Cyborgs." It's worth you reading that article if your company's in that place. And if you're into this stuff, and if you're evangelizing it, it might be worth, sharing within the company. Because basically what it talks about is these tools right now are massively powerful for individuals as productivity enhancers, but they're not really ready for prime time for companies. And so what you've got is an increasing split where you have secretly AI literate employees making their lives better with these tools, but they're not telling the companies about it. And then you've got companies that have policies like, we don't use ChatGPT, or if you use ChatGPT, you're going to be fired. Or if someone brings it up, the senior management makes fun of them. Or you've got employees who can now do in 8 hours what used to take them 40 hours, and they're not going to fucking tell anyone because party. And what the article talks about is these two worlds need to find a way to come together, and they will. And basically what he's saying is it's on the companies to make a safe space to invite people in who are literate about this stuff. And that's one of the things I say a lot is, as you start to learn this stuff, talk about it. Share what you're learning. If people think you're a fucking weirdo, fuck them. Because they're going to think you're a fucking weirdo until someone comes for their job. And then they're going to be like, hey, Kyle, could you teach me that shit you've been talking about for 6 months? Sorry I made fun of you. What is that ChatGPT thing you've been talking about? Is that still good? Should I learn that? I think I don't work here anymore. Can you help? Don't be that guy. Be the other guy. Be the guy that when it finally hits management, oh shit, we need to fucking deal with this. Who knows about this? Oh, Crypto Joe does. Remember that article he gave us? He's one of them. He knows all about this. He talks about it at lunch. Really? Yeah. What's he talk about? I don't know. He seems excited all the time. Get him in here. Crypto Joe. We want you to spearhead an initiative. Be that guy. Oh, good Lord. Here's the thing. Here's the other reason I'm really excited. 5 years from now, all this giddiness, like when you have your Kevin McAllister moment with AI where you're like, I had no idea. That's going to stop happening at some point. It's just going to become natural that you just ask the machine for something and you get it. That's going to be natural. We're in a very rare window in history where the future of these things fundamentally transforms everything about how we do what we do. And we're at the beginning of it. And we get to experience the difference between life before and life after. And if you start now, you get to experience the journey going through that transition. That's fucking miraculously rare in human history. In my lifetime, there was the personal computer, which I was too young for. I missed it, and I was pissed off that I missed it. There was the World Wide Web, which, turned decades of this internet thing into a thing everyone could interact with, changed everything. And there's this. There's not many of these. And I think this is so much bigger than the World Wide Web. So much bigger, so much more profound. The World Wide Web is going to look like a blip. This is like the steam engine. This is motherfucking big. And we're at a time we can literally say, I remember the day I had this moment with this shit. I remember what life was like before it. We actually had to open these things called spreadsheets. And we had to look at all the rows of the spreadsheets, and we had to count all the shit in the spreadsheets. And then we had to figure out these things called formulas that you put in the cells of the spreadsheets that calculated things. And then we did these things called pivot tables. And we had to think about all the different possible permutations of data. And they're like, but Grandpa, couldn't you just ask for it? No, we had to do the work. We had to walk for miles in bare feet with Microsoft Excel formulas. It was horrible. That sounds awful, Grandpa. It was awful. We get to be those people. But if you don't get curious right now, you're just going to be one of those people who's going to be bitter. It's going to be like, yeah, I remember when I used to have a job. It's like, oh, that's depressing. I did computer science, probability, network modeling, machine learning. That's how AI is made. Yep. No, listen, like I said, ChatGPT is the World Wide Web of machine learning, right? The World Wide Web put a simple interface in front of internet protocol, and ChatGPT put a simple interface on top of machine learning. and you know, it's all the stuff that makes it up, the transformers and the ability to throw massive amounts of compute power at these massive data sets and stick them in this machine. Bedtime in Illinois. Night, Vicky. I know I got to go to bed too. What time is it? It is 10:23. I'll do another couple of 10, 15 minutes or so. Oh, there's a lot of people in here. Welcome, everybody. My name's Kyle Shannon. I know I've just been on a soapbox rambling on a bit about the early days of the web and how profound this stuff is. So it's not always that intense here. Normally we're having more fun. But this is about talking about all this AI stuff. If you're brand new, if you haven't played with ChatGPT, let me do this. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this. Okay. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this. So the top thing there, the AI Learning Lab -TT, that's the YouTube channel where we've got back recordings of these lives, and I'm trying to make them useful. We just started it. If you haven't played with ChatGPT, go to chat.openai.com. That's the official ChatGPT website. All these other things are also, they're all variations or competitors to ChatGPT. The reason there's 7 of them here, there used to only be 3, now there's 7 because there's more competitors in the space. They all do slightly different things, but they're all flavors of what you do at ChatGPT. Start to get your head around what this thing does. And if you're like, I don't know what that means, Kyle, what does get my head around it mean? Basically, it's just like a Google search bar that you can ask it anything. And then it'll tell it to you. And then you're like, holy shit. And then you can say, write me a country song about that. And it will. And then you can say, turn that into a marketing plan. And it will. And if you want to start to learn about how to talk to these things, go to this document, prompts.chat. Will teach you, and you can screenshot this page as well. The things down below are image tools where you can make images that are worth playing with. And then these top 2 things will teach you about prompting. This one about words, this one about pictures. And then futurepedia.io is just a big old resource full of AI tools. So that's what the channel's about. So ask questions below. It's getting late. I probably won't get to the questions down below. I try to answer all the questions, but I do get very, very far behind, and I'm pretty sure I'm very far behind. So anyway, that's what the channel's all about. Could GPT write code to read your comments in real time and put them in a spreadsheet to read? Yes, if there were an API from Tickety Talk that can get access, that I could give access to these. So, Rebel, I think so. And if anyone knows how to do that and wants to volunteer to do it, that would be super cool, that we could sort of synthesize comments and put them so that we sort of combine comments. And I was thinking about that the other day, sort of an idea generating thing where you could take comments from a bunch of people and synthesize them into the best ideas, but give credit to the people that contributed to those best ideas. You could probably do something similar here where you pull in the comments, synthesize out the questions, and then kind of actually, it'd be cool, Rebel? You could stack rank the comments, like if people are asking the same kind of comment, that would get synthesized into a question at the top that says the most people are asking about this, and then I could see who asked that question. That would be super cool. If anyone wants to help figure out how to do that, DM me. If anyone knows how to get to the API of TikTok comments, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. We could do that with a little Zapier. We don't even need to use code. We could use a no-code tool. And we don't code. We just click on shit, and it's probably more complicated than if we just coded it. But still, we could say it was no code. We could start an agency for automation using no-code tools. We'll make tens of dollars. Actually, I think you can make a lot of money using one of their no-code tool things for automation. But you need a GPU to test the models. Well, you need a GPU to fine-tune them and to really run the big ones. But you can run them in virtual machines up in the cloud that have access to GPUs. If you want to run everything locally, then yeah, you need some iron. Which one can you upload video for AI editing? Go to futurepedia.io. There's video. There's Descript is another video one. There's probably a bunch of tools that are doing that right now. I haven't dug deep into that. Use AWS for machine learning. Yeah, they've got their, what's that thing called? They've got AWS. They've got that whole platform to be able to do machine learning stuff with it. Rebel used the word cheeky last night. Cheeky's good. Which AI is good for AI video cuts? That's what we just talked about. They honestly should be upskilling while they're on strike or they'll be in trouble. Crystal Archie. Yeah, exactly. Like, and I kind of feel like a really good writer with these tools is going to be able to just, I don't know, they're going to be able to think about these tools in a way that a non-writer wouldn't, and they're going to become incredibly powerful. And I feel similar with actors and directors, and the ability to create to do true creative self-expression across multiple modalities. I feel like people in the arts are going to be fucking insanely powerful if they embrace this shit. But as long as they resist it, they're gonna. The transition's gonna get worse and worse and worse if they don't embrace this stuff. Quantum computing is coming. Yeah, that Google Sycamore that's got 70 qubits that did a calculation in 6 seconds that would take today's most powerful supercomputer 47 years. That just happened. And then we've got room temperature superconductors, and now we've got UFOs, and apparently UFO technology. We are on the precipice of some major fucking advancements in human history. We're right in the middle of it. This is the good shit. If you ain't been here before, if you're a youngster and you ain't been through one of these, right now is the good time. This is fucking insane. It's daily. If you're paying attention to this stuff, sometimes multiple times daily, of stuff where you're just no, really? Fuck, really? No. What does that mean? Oh shit, that's a big deal. It's a lot of that going on right now. Amidst all the other crap. We have arrived. Welcome. Your journey begins now. Do you choose to step on the train or not? The choice is yours. Is it going to be a bumpy train ride? Oh, yes. Is it going to be terrifying? Yes. Exhilarating? Of course. All aboard? Or not? Because the train's fucking leaving the station. You getting on it? Again, I make no judgment about it. I understand why the Writers Guild is doing what they're doing. I understand why SAG's doing what they're doing. I understand why people are fucking terrified. And none of that matters. I mean, no, that's not true. All of that matters. None of that matters in terms of how this shit progresses. This shit's progressing no matter what conversations are going on about whether or not it should progress. That's what I mean about it doesn't matter. The consternation of, should we have AI? That conversation's over. It's over. What should we do about it? That one we can still have. But whether or not it's good, whether or not it's bad, whether or not we should keep advancing it, that's all done. That's all done. It's all right. It's inspiring seeing senior citizens share wisdom. Oh, I love youngsters when they come in and try to troll me. Respect the wrinkles. Oh, Bert Fubbles official. You're the sweetest. Fucking millennials. Punk ass bitches. We're bitter. We're bitter. We're bitter. We're bitter. We'll take you down. Come at us, millennials. What do you want to do? Fight about it? We'll fight you. We'll have a good time fighting about how we're older and you're notter. All right, Bert. I've been duly served. I've been on the planet longer than you. I feel horrible. You win. You're a winner. Way to go, Bert Fubbles. Official. You're officially a fubble, Bert official fart bubble. Fart bubble, bubble fart official. Yeah, fucking fart bubble. All right. Wasn't Big Blue an AI? Yeah, it was. It was I forget what convolutional network. I forget what it was. It was a more limited kind of vertical AI. It was very, very specifically trained on chess and nothing else. These things are much more broader capability. But yeah, it was an AI. That's the thing. Like I said, machine learning's been around for decades. This shit been around for a while. But then Google went off and they invented this thing called a transformer. And then all these scientists went ahead and said, that's very interesting. And then 7 years later, ChatGPT came out. And everyone went, oh shit, look at that. The Turing test appears to be over. It appears that we can talk to the thing now. Although some would argue that the Turing test is not over. But I would argue that if you've ever used Alexa or Siri and tried to have anything resembling a conversation with them, you quickly realize they're steaming piles of shit. And then you have one of these and you're like, oh, that's different. So, yeah, that's what's happening. I may be in the naughty list, but I'm not in timeout. Just saying. I know I have been timed out a lot. All right, I'm going to scroll to the bottom because I'm sure people are saying bad things about me now. I'm scrolling to the bottom. I'm going to answer a few more questions, and then I'm going to leave you because it's Sunday night and I have to work tomorrow. I have a lot to do, too. I should be working, but, this is more fun, at least for me. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves. Wait, try this, Kyle. Go to your Microsoft Edge, type, take me to Midjourney AI, see what happens. No. Take me to Midjourney AI. No, it just takes you to the site that redirects you to. This account has been suspended. All right. All right. Let's see. The boom in creativity is huge. Yeah, exactly, Kaz. It's crazy. Or use GitHub to get API. Oh, for TikTok? Yeah, I could probably figure that shit out. I just don't have time to build it. If someone wants to help me build a TikTok live comment parser, that's probably a product that would be sellable until TikTok just replicates it. Studios want to hire non-writers to write. Yeah, and they want to hire non-union actors to act. there's a weird sort of loophole in the SAG strike where all of the independent movies are still filming because they're not studio films, but it's like most of the films that are being done are not studio films. So like the actors are still acting. The big studio projects have ground to a halt, but interesting times. I want to start using AI to teach English. It'll be really good at that. Absolutely a good time, literally 10 times easier to learn new things and develop skills. Yep, totally agree. I'm old enough to remember. Red pill or blue pill? Exactly. Are you an actor? Yeah, I have a degree in acting, but I'm a founder and a CEO of a tech company right now. I am an ex-actor. You can take the actor off the stage, but can you take the stage out of the actor? No, I don't think so. I don't think so, Bob. Tell him what he's won. You've won a TikTok channel. Congratulations. You have an audience now. Act like an ass. Perfect. Yes, I am. Ahoy, capitalist making more money while needing less manpower. Well, Ginny Knox, yes, that's happening. There's pay attention to some of the things going on. Take a look at what Sam Altman's doing with his project called WorldCoin that just launched. So there's a couple interesting things. OpenAI used to be nonprofit. Then they realized they needed to raise a lot more money than they could raise as a nonprofit. They made it for profit, but they made it capped for profit. So what that means is investors can only make up to a certain point of profit, and then the rest of that money goes essentially into a fund. And what WorldCoin is it's a human verification system. So it's creating an identity system that can identify that you're a human. It's a cryptocurrency that is a spendable currency. And then there's a whole payment platform. And what Sam Altman's talking about, and it sort of ties in with this capped for profit thing. So let's say that investors are capped off at $100 billion or $1 trillion. But let's say that the value that OpenAI generates is in the tens of trillions of dollars. So this gap he's throwing into a fund, and he's looking at it as a prosperity, like a wealth redistribution model, a universal basic income model. So WorldCoin is the infrastructure, the potential infrastructure for that vision of the future, where the AI generates sort of exponentially increasing prosperity while we need less and less people to make that prosperity. What Sam Altman's wanting to do is take a massive chunk of the upside and redistribute that back to the people. So I know it sounds all communist and all, but right now we've got an economy that effectively is in stasis, where you've got this amount of people working and this amount of GDP, and there's fluctuations and unemployment and all that sort of bullshit, but it's relatively in stasis. These tools are going to start doing this to the prosperity. And what you're saying, the capitalists are just like, well, fuck the employees, fire more and we'll increase our upside. What Sam Altman's saying is, we know that's coming. Let's put mechanisms in place now that take advantage of that upside and get it back to the people that are going to be displaced. So will it happen? I don't know, but pay attention to some of the shit going on, because it's not being thought about. It is being thought about every second of every day. That's my brain lately. It wasn't my fault. Sorry. Did you invent this shit, Morgie? Please tell me you didn't invent this shit. Gen X knows. Gen X fucking knows. We'll take you out. We drank out of hoses. You know that metal taste when you drink out of a hose? Well, you young people don't, because you've never had to do that. But you're telling me there's not heavy metals coursing throughout my body because of the hoses I sucked on as a kid? I still make $1 million, so what? Good for you, Morgie. Ginny Knox, don't you mean Gen Z? Oh yeah, it was probably Gen Z. Millennials are older now. Roast. If you put your mind to it. Complicated. Ba-da-ba-bum. I love your sound happy. I don't know what that means, Morgie. I love your sound happy. How are we still alive? Oh, you're from Taiwan. Cool. I love the euphemisms for socialism. Yeah, I know. Well, I don't want to. I mean, the problem with the word socialism is you can't use the word. Like, there are certain words in our conversation these days that you just can't say the word because everyone goes, my brain's on fire. You're one of them. No, I'm just looking at the shit that's happening, trying to make sense of it. YouTube transcripts can be copied into ChatGPT, but they're quite long. That's why you have to use. So, Lauren, if your YouTube transcripts are too long for ChatGPT, use Claude for that. That's what I did my YouTube transcripts in. You can put a 75,000 word document in Claude and still interact with it. This is performance art. This is performance art. All right, listen, it's late. My voice is getting all crackly. And as a trained professional, I need to take care of my instrument. I wouldn't want my instrument to become damaged. I wouldn't be able to entertain you on a nightly basis without a solid instrument. Been fun hanging out with you. I hope you had fun tonight. I hope you learned something. I had a good time. I actually learned some things tonight. I'm going to go check out Gorilla from Microsoft, Gorilla AI. If you weren't here earlier, someone goes, but Kyle, have you heard about Microsoft's Gorilla AI? And I'm like, oh no, this must be a joke. No, apparently they got a thing called Gorilla AI that's going to be like the next big thing. And I went and looked at the little article and it looks like it's going to be the next big thing. I don't know how real it is. That's what I got to go figure out. So maybe gorilla.ai gets added to the list at some point here. Knowing Microsoft, it's at least a year out. Although they've been moving pretty damn fast. They've slowed down a bit since the New York Times debacle. But anyway, interesting times. Interesting times, people. It's interesting. For those youngsters here, it's your bedtime. Go to bed. For you old people here, what the fuck are we still doing up? We should have been in bed hours ago. All right. I'm going to go. I'm going to leave you all for your fantastic Sunday evening. I really do appreciate you hanging out with me. I have a good time and commandments. Morgie, you're fun. You should come back. Follow me. If you haven't followed me, go ahead and follow me. And wow, good night from Riyadh. Wow, nice. Us oldies are old. I know. Morgie might be a bot. I think Morgie's not a bot, but Morgie might be a bot. Peace out, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.